You are listening to the Crazy Town Podcast, Season 2, Episode 14, with Jonas and TNT Dynamite. TNT, we have an unusual episode today.
Oh yeah? Why is that?
We're going to talk some deep shit, man. Like crazy scientific universe sort of like blow your mind sort of shit.
Okay, all right. Existential like realizations and...
Yeah, like you may like... Just your head will explode.
Are we going to tear down some deities?
Maybe. There may not be enough time to tear down deities. I don't know.
I got a real problem.
But it's perfect for the Crazy Town. Have you ever heard of the Fermi Paradox or the Great Filter?
I have heard of the Fermi Paradox.
All right. And what about the Kardashev Scale? Not to be confused with the Kardashian Scale.
Kardashev. I feel like I've heard it pronounced differently. But I don't know.
Well, basically, all of these theories have to do with life in the universe other than us.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what we're going to talk about today.
All right.
It's going to blow your fucking mind.
Consider it already blown?
Wow, you're already blown? That was a cheap date. Anyways.
Speaking of getting blown.
Yes. Well, now that we've piqued everyone's interest, enjoy the show, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Crazy Town Podcast. My name is Jonas, I am your host, and I am here with...
TNT Dynamite, the explosive one, TNT, DINOMIGHT. What's going on, guys?
With the guys, I don't know. Me,
and girls, of course.
Me,
ladies.
Not so much, hosting a podcast with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we're doing.
Is that what we do?
So... once again, welcome to the Crazy Town Podcast. I do want to thank you all for listening. TNT wants to thank you, too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nothing like putting an awkward thank you in your mouth.
I mean it.
I really, really mean it. Well, anyways, we are glad that you're here. We have something very special for you today. We're going to talk about something that's going to make your heart warm. Or maybe make you want to wish you had never heard it.
Make your heart warm.
Yeah. You got to make sure, though, before you do any of this, you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If you like video games, even if you don't. Crazy Town Media on YouTube. They're kind of like mini podcasts, right?
Yeah, let's play. We do stuff.
Yeah, we do things.
Yeah, kids, be like TNT. Subscribe to the Crazy Town Media YouTube site.
Right. We do videos, Monday through Friday, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Also, make sure you're following us on Twitter, at the Crazy Town Pod, and also at Crazy Town Media. If you do not follow us by the time I'm done telling you about all this stuff, Grandma will not take you to see the roller derby next weekend.
Grandma, I love Misty Mayhem.
Is that a roller derby girl?
Dude, I'm thinking
I bet you it is. Even if it isn't, it is. And also, of course, the cornucopia of continuous information about the show and the YouTube channel, thecrazytown.com. TNT, I'm not going to waste any fucking time today, man. We have a lot to fucking cover.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you've been holding this information secret from me for the last couple of days.
I know. I've been teasing it.
No, he's had a briefcase around his hand with handcuffs, right, where he keeps the files.
I opened it. It's like glowing. You're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Nothing. Just don't worry about it."
What movie is that?
It's a Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, it's good shit.
It is. All right. Well, let's get right into it. But first, you need to drop some knowledge on these hoes.
All right, I'll do that.
TNT's vocabulary.
I was looking up Misty Mayhem, but
just to see if it was there.
Yeah, I could swear. Today's word is behindhand.
Behindhand. Is it all one word?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You know how to spell behind?
Q. No. Yes. Yeah.
Q. Okay. Yeah. So if you know how to spell hand, the word is behindhand. It simply means to be late or tardy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing super special today.
Wow.
I mean, but you can
Everything
still use it.
in this episode is so technical that you had to slow down the vocabulary. You didn't want to start out on the wrong foot.
You think I'm trying to say that our listeners can't keep up?
No, they can.
All right.
This stuff's a little deep, man. I need you to be my man to let me know if I'm not fucking...
Jonas, if you talk bad about our listeners, I'm going to put my behind up your hand. Behind.
Wait a second. Okay.
Get into it.
Are you ready for this?
Let's go.
Okay. I stumbled across this on the internet. What I stumbled across first was the Great Filter. But the Great Filter is part of the Fermi Paradox. So I'm going to start with the Fermi Paradox. Okay? This is the idea that revolves around, is there other life out there in the universe other than humans on Earth? Okay?
Absolutely.
So realistically, I want to break down the size of the universe first, because I guess until I read this article, I didn't kind of grasp the size of the universe. I mean, I understand our galaxy, but the universe in general. So I'm going to break it down this way first, just so everyone can get the vast size of this universe, right? It's very scientific, so I'm going to try to make it more plain. So
I mean, you're no scientist.
I'm no scientist, exactly.
So I'm expecting a layman's point of view from you.
Right.
You're not going to get into black holes and density of gray matter.
Right. I'm just trying to get the vastness of stars and planets and things like that could be out there in this universe.
Shit is big out there, guys.
Right. So in the article, it breaks it down, and he uses a lot of ranges. So I'm going to use the low end range of everything he talked about. So this is the minimum that scientists are agreeing is probably what's going on, but it may be way more than this.
All right.
So it says, basically, for every grain of sand on Earth, there is 10,000 stars in the observable universe.
Okay.
So if you think for every fucking grain of sand you've ever seen, 10,000 stars.
I buy that.
Right, which is, as far as a math number, it was 10 to the 22nd power, which was 10 with 22 zeros, which is a fucking giant number. So out of those, they're saying that 500 billion,
mm-hmm.
So 1 billion times 500 billion,
yeah,
can be assumed that they're sun-like.
Oh.
They're like a sun in our galaxy.
So they can support life.
Right. They're like a source. So that's saying 5%.
Yeah.
Are that, which is. It says that's basically 500 sun-like planets. 500, yes. It gets really dense. Okay. Then they say out of those, 1% or 100 billion could be assumed that they have the potential to be like an Earth-like planet. That have have conditions that what we know life to be could possibly survive on that.
Yeah. Okay. I could see that.
Okay. That's straight science. Okay.
Yeah.
Now things start to get a little more speculative at this point. So basically, after billions of years, even if 1% of the Earth-like planets that are potentially out there that could support some sort of intelligent life, 10 million billion are able to potentially support life out there.
So 10 million billion is 1%.
Of the 1%. So regardless, this is basically saying every grain of sand on Earth, there's potentially one planet represents that could host life. The conditions could be probable to host life. So that's a shitload of potential.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So this is all still set up, man. It's like I told you. I'm kind of
it's fine. So far, you're not explaining anything that I don't think a layman would know.
Right.
I don't disagree with anything.
And it said if you scale that back to just our galaxy, not the entire universe, that's 1 billion Earth-like planets and potentially 100,000 intelligent civilizations just in our Milky Way galaxy that could potentially be out there.
Just what we know of
just
so far.
What we can easily see.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was all the setup to the vastness of the universe in general. in our galaxy.
Yeah, it's big.
Right. There's an organization. It's called the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence.
Yeah,
SETI.
I just heard about these guys in the news recently.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So they're an organization. They dedicate to listening for signals from other life, whether it's lasers, radio signal, any sort of anything that could potentially be from another life form. They always monitor.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're even somewhat right, there could be up to 100,000 civilizations in our galaxy somewhere, and even a fraction of those are trying to contact. It has never picked up one sense of anything from anyone ever. So where is everybody?
But I'm sure that, I don't know, privacy is a big thing with our
Right.
race of people, with humans. So I'm sure they could probably bypass whatever we got.
That's true.
They're active and they're on like another frequency that we have not yet discovered.
That's true. Right. So here's where I'm going to start breaking things down.
Mm-hmm.
Because our Earth is about 4 billion years old. 4.5 billion years old, right?
Yeah, if you believe in that.
Well, right, exactly. This is all, I mean, I do not, let me get this disclaimer out there. I am not saying I believe in any of this shit. It just is kind of interesting to me. So I want to throw it out there for conversation's sake.
Sure.
Right. So our sun that we know
is
a fairly young sun, comparable to the rest of the galaxy, the rest of the universe.
Yeah, thank God, because we'd die if it wasn't.
Right. But, so if our sun is young, there could potentially be civilizations out there that are billions of years older than us. So we should assume that there's something out there way more advanced than we are.
I would almost guarantee it.
Well, right. So even a civilization 1,000 years ahead of us would be, think about, but even just think 2018 to 1918. That's 100 years.
That's what I was just going to say. 100 years ago.
Right.
Like, cars were totally different. There was no internet.
Right. 100 years ago, women couldn't vote still. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It was like there wasn't any tech. There was like the cotton gin and like fucking like hand washing machines.
We're new to this.
So yeah. So what would 1018 before Columbus even found fucking America? That would be like throwing something like that at them today. Like, oh hey, you're gonna be able to video chat your friend across the world. They were like, what the fuck is a video?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So basically, it would make us look like chimpanzees compared to human, like in the evolution of you know what I mean, like, or even farther behind than that. So in order to progress, the next thing I want to talk about is called the Kardashev Scale, because this goes into this as well.
Yeah.
You following me still on this?
Am I following you?
Are you personally following me?
I'm right along with you. I've heard a lot of this. I've actually heard. I've listened to some podcasts in my time.
The Kardashev Scale basically says that there could be 3 types of civilizations out there. Type 1, Type 2, Type 3. Very...
Just like diabetes.
Right. I don't think that's true. But, you know, they wanted to get real creative with it, so they went Type 1, Type 2, Type 3.
Oh, herpes.
Yes.
Okay.
Herpes simplex 1 and herpes simplex 2.
And 3.
A Type 1 civilization is defined as a civilization that can use all of the energy on their planet. Only. Just within their planet.
Yeah.
And even famous physicist Carl Sagan is the one I'm referencing now. They agree that as humans, we're not even a Type 1 yet, because we don't fully use all of everything that's available on our planet yet.
Yeah, that's true.
They said we're about a 0.7, which we're close, but they're still coming up with new things. They're coming up with new elements. They're finding new things that, like, oh, this is easier to make, whatever. Type 2, this is where it gets kind of out there. They can harness all the energy of their host star, which is basically the sun. So they got into something where, like, somehow you're able to harness the energy of, like, the sun and, like, any sort of reach or radiation from the sun. Like, you're able to use all of that to harness to make more power.
We're getting there. Solar power is
well, right, but it's like
bounds.
it's a lot more deep than that, because they even mentioned in this article that, like, our, like, feeble human brains are almost incapable of, like, understanding what that all entails, because, like, we aren't even to the point of, like, using our whole planet yet. So then there's a type 3, which is basically harnessing the power of the entire galaxy, which would be like being able to use all the power of the Milky Way to do what the fuck ever. Like, we couldn't even imagine what that would be. You know what I mean? It's so far.
It's always a safe bet to say that we're stupid and that we don't know shit.
Right.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's what it said. It said, if a civilization similar to ours were able to survive all the way to a type 3 level, like say we got all the way to type 3, the natural thought is that you would be so far advanced that there would be interstellar colonization. There would, we can't travel far because of the speed of light and all that. I mean, you would be able to go past anything that we, think is even possible. Mm. And it said even if they slowly replicated across the universe, it would only take them like 3.75 million years to fully colonize the universe.
And that's if they started, like.
Right, but that's 3.75 million. Our planet's been around for 4.5 billion years.
Oh, you're saying they've already.
So, like, essentially, they could have done it a million times over already. So, continuing to speculate with this, even if only 1% of like intelligent life is able to become a Type 3 civilization, by now there should be at least 1,000 of those, because the universe has been around so fucking long that there should be so advanced life forms out there already.
So you're saying Star Trek?
Maybe, who knows, dude? The Type 3, from what they were saying, is it's something we can't even like grasp. Like, we're so feeble-minded as like where we're at in our evolution that it would be something that we couldn't even grasp or understand.
Yo, if it's like Star Trek, I'm totally gonna fuck a Klingon.
Were you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like one of the ones with the ridges on their forehead and shit? Like, yeah. Do they have numerous breasts? That was Total Recall. They had 3 breasts. Yeah, okay. Never mind. I was thinking something totally different out there.
Like a puppy? Like a dog or something?
So basically what I'm trying to get at is, by now, with all this time that's went by, you would think that we would have noticed something from some other civilization out there. Mm. So, like, the question of where the fuck is everybody is what defines the Fermi Paradox. Like, that is the basic question.
All right. Well, on that, there's like 2, using Occam's razor, there's 2 things that could be possible. Either one,
wait, don't start, I'm breaking shit down. Don't start getting into theories yet.
Let me just say it. Either one, they don't exist.
Uh-huh.
Or 2, we're too stupid to realize they exist.
Well, that's entirely possible, but let me
And it's always a safe bet that we're too stupid.
Yeah, I'm sure. But so there's no definitive answer to this question, obviously.
I just gave you a definitive answer.
Right, but I have here many, many theories from scientists about why this isn't happening.
You don't need them. You got me here.
I got the TNT theories.
You got me.
Basically, it said in the article, if you ask 10 scientists, they're going to give you 10 different answers. Like, it's so widespread. Everyone has a different theory. Everyone thinks something different. It said, think about this sort of situation as what people in, like, the medieval times thought about. Is the earth flat? Is the earth the center of the universe? All they could do is speculate. And now we've, like, been in space and seen, and all that sort of shit, and realized that the earth isn't the center of the universe. We know those things for fact. So down the road, we may have an answer to this. But right now, it's the same as it was in medieval times.
Yeah. How long ago was medieval times?
Was that like the 1400s? I don't even know, dude.
Wow, dude. That's not even that long ago.
Like
600 years ago?
Right. Well, Columbus found, 1492? But was like medieval? I don't know, dude. We'd have to look that shit up. Was it BC? I don't know, man. I'm not the biggest history buff. Okay. So here's where we're going to start getting into in thought process. Right. The way we're going to break this down to start is 2 categories. One thought process is all going to function on that the Type 2 and Type 3 civilizations do not exist at all. Let's just say there's no such thing. They don't exist, okay? So there's only Type 1. Okay. So because those people always come back to the rationalization or the thought of using math and logic. We've already determined there should be thousands or even millions of these civilizations out there. Our civilization.
We're saying that the type ones,
right?
Okay, yes,
right.
So
there should be
definitely
right.
Yeah.
So even if there was a general consensus to not let other people know you're there, and 99.99% of them were super cautious, there's always that exception to the rule where someone fucks up and does something that they shouldn't do, and so we haven't been aware of them. So math and science kind of says something must have happened to all these other civilizations. And this is where the Great Filter comes into play. So this is where I'm going to start discussing the Great Filter. Because this all kind of happens with assuming that there's no other civilizations stronger than a type 1.
Okay.
The Great Filter theory suggests that along the way to a type 3 civilization, from simple amoeba to all the way up to type 3 civilization, there is a certain barrier that all species, whatever it is, cannot cross. At a certain point, something happens where they do not, you're not ever able to get to type 3.
Now I remember this part. Okay.
Right. So
government.
All the interstellar governments have come together.
Coming to take my guns.
Yes.
Right.
So what I'm going to do right now, before I get into the Great Filter, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back and get into the Great Filter.
We're taking a break.
A quick break.
A quick one.
Yeah.
I could piss.
Yeah. And then we'll be right back on the Crazy Town podcast. And welcome back to the Crazy Town podcast. Jonas and TNT Dynamite discussing some deep scientific shit.
Holy shit, Misty Mayhem is a roller derby girl woman.
Roller derby girl woman? Is that different than a woman?
Well, she's a full-grown adult, so I refer to her as a woman in this
I'm glad we can clean the palate with a callback before we get into some more scientific crazy shit.
Yeah, now here comes the vegetables.
You guys ready for shit to get deep?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, to rehash, Fermi Paradox is basically about if there's life on other planets or not. Easy. The Great Filter is one of the biggest parts of this that basically said the reason that there's no civilizations that we know of type 3 is that there's some barrier that prevents the evolution to getting that point. So I want to discuss the Great Filter in depth a little bit. The first thing I found was an article where a guy had broken down the Great Filter into 9 steps. I'm going to hash these steps real quick. First one is it has to be the right star system, including organics and potentially habitable planets.
Yeah.
And then reproductive molecules, simple prokaryotic single cell.
Mm-hmm.
I mispronounced that, didn't
Prokaryote, I believe.
Prokaryote. Okay, that's great.
Prokaryotic.
Prokaryotic.
Yeah,
then the next step is complex eukaryotic cells. Wow. Then sexual reproduction. Then multi-cell life. Tool-using animals with big brains.
Yeah. Punnett squares.
Yes, I guess so.
Somebody got that.
Yeah, somebody got it. Yeah. Then 8 is like where we're at now. And then 9 is basically like colonization, explosion, whatever. Okay?
Okay.
So according to this hypothesis, as long as this list of steps is complete, one of the steps will be considered improbable.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So if we haven't already overcome the Great Filter in the past somewhere,
no,
then step 9. Hold on, you got to hear all these out. You can't be a skeptic.
No,
okay?
It's fine. We ain't got there yet, though, buddy.
Right. So if we haven't already got past the Great Filter, then step 9 is the improbable step, the colonization, explosion, or whatever. So if no other species has ever made it to step 9, that it means it's pretty fucking bleak for the human race in general.
I mean,
right.
You can look outside your window or turn on CNN and see
it's pretty fucking bleak.
Yeah, we're about there.
You want to, but listen to this. This actually blew my mind. Since we don't know where the Great Filter is, it could be any of these steps. We could be past it. We could.
Okay.
But what it said is if, like, say we found multi-cell life on Mars, it would be bad news because it would mean that steps 1 through 6 are easy because it's happening on other planets other than Earth.
Yeah.
So that would mean the Great Filter would have to be after step 6, you know. So basically, the way this article put it, under the theories here that are pretending that no Type 2 and no Type 3 civilizations exist anywhere in the universe, either humans were rare, were first, or were fucked.
All right.
So I'll break down each of the three on this, okay? We'll start out with we are rare, okay? So, which would mean that the Great Filter is behind us. That we have somehow passed through the Great Filter and we are on our way to becoming one of these superior civilizations.
Does that mean that it's rare?
Because if it wasn't...
Oh, you're saying
because no one else has done it.
It would be more prolific.
Right. There would be colonization. There would be something going on in the universe if someone else had done this.
I feel like that rarity could also be explained not necessarily by us passing the Great Filter, but just by, like, geographical location or, like, location from planets.
Well, right.
We're the only ones that take advantage of this giant star. But anyway,
right. Anyway, so if we've managed to surpass the Great Filter, it would mean that it's extremely rare for any life to ever make it to our level of intelligence. I'm just going through theories. I know the hubris is real on this, but like,
no. If anything, it's the humility.
Humility, yeah.
So get the fuck out of here.
So this explains why there's no Type 2 or Type 3 civilizations. And it means that there's hope for us because we would be one of the few exceptions to ever get to this point. It would mean that the human race is special, quotations, for lack of a better word. Okay?
Yeah, we're unique.
Right. So, but even with this, they said it's something scientists call observation selection effect, which basically suggests that any species who is able to ponder their own rarity in the big picture of the universe is already intelligent enough life to be considered a success story because we're able to think so deeply about, like, well, maybe we are special compared to everything else, that automatically means that we're, you know...
Our ability to reason.
Right.
And that's what puts us at the top of the food chain.
Right, exactly. But then the question becomes, if we did make it and we are special, at what point did we become special? Like, where did we surpass everything else that has ever existed to get to where we're at? Like, at what point did this happen?
Agriculture.
Yeah. So there's a few options with this. So it could mean that the first step is the Great Filter. That it's unusual for life to start anywhere at all. So if we've already passed it, it very well could be that the creation of life is the hardest part of any of it. Which, me being me, I don't think that's the case. No. I think that what's the fucking word?
Testicles?
Yes, the testicles.
You're moving your hand like you're holding a...
Oh my God, the circumstances for the creation of life are probably out there other places.
Yeah.
You know, but it's plausible because it took 1 billion years on Earth for us to get single cell life and then 2 billion more years for it to advance to complex life with nucleuses in the cells. So, I mean, it took a long time for us to get from creation of Earth to today. Yeah. It took a long fucking time. Like, it's not something that happens in, you know. And they've also tried to do this in labs and been unsuccessful. They cannot create life out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But
they're trying.
Oh, they're trying. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's when we're going to kill ourselves right there.
Yes, right. Exactly. Yeah, right. Trying to create life. It's like trying to play God.
Yeah.
So essentially, if the first step is like the Great Filter, not only are we special and the only intelligent life out there, we very well could be the only life out there in the universe, period.
Oh, so you're parlaying for that?
No, I'm not parlaying
with this first point.
The we are rare part of this, because it's either we are rare, we are first, we are fucked. Okay, so if it's we're so rare, we very well could be the only life out there. But we've already described in the first segment how vast the universe is. Yeah. So is it likely that we're the only life in all of those 500 billion stars?
It's like, yeah, man, because that's a lot.
Right.
It's like, a lot of stuff out there.
So like out of 500 billion, one exists.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy that.
Right. Okay. I agree. So, but they say also with this, the great filter could be between steps 3 and 4, which is where we turn from simple organisms to complex, from prokaryotic to eukaryotic cells. Because basically it took almost 2 billion years for it to happen on Earth, and it would mean most of the universe is full of simple cells. If there's other life, it's just simple-celled organisms out there, which that's feasible. You know, there's like little amoebas and shit running around on other planets.
Definitely.
But see, what it says here is like the great filter has to be something that's like basically, for lack of a better term, 1 in a billion or more chance to happen. You know what I mean? So like it's not something that could happen all over the place, because that's why it's the great filter and people can't get past it. And it says that it's happened on Earth as many as like 40 sometimes with like things evolving, and you know, they have record of like things like moving forward. And that's why I already touched on a minute ago. If they ever found complex organisms on Mars, it would automatically throw that shit out, because it would mean the circumstances were right on Earth and Mars for it to happen. And Mars's atmosphere is way different than ours. Yeah. So it would not mean shit. It would basically mean like the great filter is still to come, so we'll see. So, and they said also with this, if we are rare, it could be due to another theory they have called rare Earth hypothesis, which basically attributes, we have a very large moon for the size of our planet. Mm-hmm. And it said that with the moon being so close, it's like it could just be the perfect storm of like weather conditions and whatever from all of that we are the only planet that is able to form life because of like weird atmospheric conditions that, you know, are beyond anything.
And then again, it's like,
which again falls under.
There's so much out there that how are you not going to get that again?
Right.
If you flip a coin 5 billion times, it's going to land on its side at least twice.
Right.
It's going to happen.
Right. You know, right. I feel you. It will. Something will happen. So that's all under the rarity, which, I mean, all that stuff does fall under rarity. Next, we're the first. I know, it's kind of fucking... This one kind of makes me laugh a little bit. So if this is the case, then we are ahead of anything else that has ever been out there in the history of the world, which is billions of years old in the universe.
Okay.
And there could be numerous life forms on their way to Type 3 civilizations, but it just hasn't happened. So we are here at the perfect time for us to become one of the first ever super civilizations.
Yeah, we did it, guys.
We did it. We're launching cars into space.
Let all acquaintance be for... No.
No.
I don't buy that.
So one example of this phenomenon that could make this somewhat realistic is, you know, gamma ray bursts that we've experienced in other galaxies.
Like to turn you into the Incredible Hulk?
Yes.
Is that... No,
yeah,
really?
It's just... No, basically, like... It's that all these first chunks of the universe forming was full of like catastrophic events, like giant gamma ray explosions and big bangs, and like so everything every so often would just be incinerated and wiped out. Yeah. And now we're to a point where the universe has settled, so we are the first that have been able to move forward into this.
Oh, we don't really know what happened out there prior to.
Right, exactly. So so essentially it could be this is the first time any life has been able to evolve this long without any interruption from the universe, like being wiped out by a sunspot or whatever. So that's the we're first. I'm pretty cut and dry.
All right, where does Jesus fit into all of this?
Oh, he rides the magic rocket.
No, give me the Jesus
Let me tell you,
outlook of it.
Jesus was not mentioned in this article at all.
He wasn't, not once?
Not one time.
Okay.
JC, man, he wouldn't know. They were like,
Yeah, well,
whatever. All right, now the third part.
it's the problem with America.
Right? Third part. We're fucked.
Yeah.
So this would mean that we are yet to hit the Great Filter. This suggests that life regularly evolves to where we are, but something happens preventing the colonization into the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we should discuss. So this could be anything from your drive to better and create new technology ultimately causes your own extinction. Nuclear weapons, space, whatever.
The shit you see going on right now.
Right. Like we could get so caught up in trying to technologically advance, we wipe ourselves out, which is entirely possible.
We're hell-bent on killing each other.
Well, right. I mean, yeah, we have nukes. Yeah, they're whatever. But it literally takes one person to make a bad decision, and the entire world could be gone.
Oh, wonder who that one person could be. Now, you know what kills me, though, is that we're like hell-bent on killing each other. Every country, it seems like they're just run by these sociopaths who are just like, we need better weapons because we might have to kill another country.
Right. It's like, in case it ever happens, I want to be able to wipe them out. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you need a bomb that could wipe out an entire country in one shot for?
You know what it may be, though?
What's that?
Let me play devil's advocate to myself.
All right.
Maybe it's because they know something we don't, and we have to defend ourselves.
Right. All these nukes are for when the aliens come.
That they already know about.
Right.
They're like, look.
Oh, wait. When I get to the second set of
there's some aliens in here.
No, this is all pretending people that are the type 2 and type 3s don't exist. There's a whole other set of scenarios where you assume they do exist and why we haven't heard from them yet.
No. Well,
so this is all pretending that type 2 and type 3 civilizations do not exist at all.
All right.
So essentially, basically, our hubris, our curiosity, just kills the cat. Essentially, you know, every fucking civilization gets to the point where they are so hell bent on being better and whatever that they're gone, man. Yeah, I mean, now it also could be a giant catastrophic event like a gamma ray or whatever. Yeah. Wipes us all out in one fucking shot. An ice age, whatever. You know what I mean?
Give a toddler an AR-16 with a bump stock.
Bad things are going to happen.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, we're toddlers right now, guys.
Yeah, we are
fucking around with bump stocks.
Yeah, no shit, right? So, but basically scientists are kind of under the impression that no news is good news. As far as like, we haven't heard from anybody else. That's a good sign because we can assume they're not there. You know what I mean? Ignorance.
And you know what happens to people. You know what they say about people who assume.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
But ignorance is bliss, more or less. You know what I mean? Yeah. You pretend they don't exist, you're happy. Because these other fucking scenarios, they're really fucking dark. Wait till we get into these motherfuckers.
Scary, man, we're dead.
So
we're all dead.
We are all
dead. We're gonna die.
Because any life found on another planet is bad because it basically it eliminates the possibility of the Great Filter being behind us, and almost certainly means it's in front of us somewhere. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's all. There are those three theories. We're rare. We're first. We're fucked. If out of those three, pretending these other type 2, type 3 civilizations don't exist, which one do you think is the most like realistic?
Well, we already know. I think that we're fucked, but I may be biased. So while I think we're fucked, only because I just don't feel like we're unique. Let's go with I think we're rare.
We're rare. It's just like happenstance that we've made it as far as we've made it.
Yeah, I think.
Because I mean, essentially, right? We were just like fucking like little like organisms running around the planet, and now we've evolved into fucking humans and animals and all sorts of shit.
Yeah, in like 600 years, a couple thousand years.
Well, I think they said. I think it's a little longer than that. I think the first. I get into that in this one about how long humans have been tracking their own existence and shit.
I forgot you weren't going the Jesus route.
No, we're not going the Jesus route. Okay,
heathen.
Wow, I am a heathen.
Okay.
All
right, so yeah. All right.
So those are all those. Those are pretending these high advanced civilizations do not exist.
Yeah.
Now, there are theories that say there are type 2 and type 3 out there,
yeah,
but we just don't know about them for some reason or another. And people who believe these theories throw everything about us being special or rare out the window because essentially we're not if all these other exist, okay? They use lack of evidence. They use the fact that our lack of evidence does not prove there's no existence out there.
Ooh.
Because, let me finish this, then you can tell your point. Our, what did I say? SETI, that monitors for all this other thing, it only stretches 100 light years away from our planet, which is only 1/10 of 1% of the entire universe. So
it's
0.01%. No, 0.1%. 10%. 0.1%.
10% is so it's
1/10 of 1%.
1/10 of 1% or 10% of 1%.
The same. It's the same thing.
Why are we saying it like that?
Because it's less than 1%.
So it's like 0.00%.
It's 0.
It don't matter,
right?
It's very small.
You take 1%, divide it into 10 chunks, grab one of them. That's how small of the universe. So basically, 1/1000th of the universe.
When you cut a fucking cake, do you say, "Give me 10% of that slice"? No, I just don't like. I didn't like the way you were putting the number, but it's fine. I get it.
Basically saying
less
that
than
we only monitor such a small percent of the universe. Like, how the fuck can you say there's nothing out there? If they don't. It's like it'd be like me fucking like going to look for a lost child and like looking into the woods from the brim and going, he's not in there, and being done. Like I couldn't hear him yelling, so he's not in the woods.
Yeah. So remember that, ladies, when you think that all men are trash, huh? Yeah. You're dealing with 1/10 of 1% of the guys that you've dated.
Okay. Do you remember what you were going to say, or did you forget it?
Yeah, I was going to say the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
Oh,
I love that. That is like my favorite fucking quote.
It's like Confucius say.
Yeah.
TNT say.
That was Samuel L. Jackson on the Boondocks.
So say it one more time.
The absence of evidence is not necessarily the evidence of absence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it means just because you can't prove it doesn't mean it's not going down.
Exactly. All right, so right now would be a perfect time. Take another quick break.
Oh, shit.
We'll come right back in. We're going to jump into these, why we haven't heard from these other civilizations. There's 10 theories that we got. Yeah. You ready for that?
Hopefully we're allowed to tell the tale.
Right. Hopefully it doesn't hopefully the great filter doesn't happen on this break. This is where shit gets dark, guys. So don't change that dial. There's no dial, but don't change the station. Don't shut my podcast off. Maybe we're on a station, man. You know, you never know. All right, we'll be right back on the Crazy Town podcast. We are back on the Crazy Town podcast. TNT and Jonas talking about all sorts of existential crazy shit.
Yeah, we're talking about life.
Life, love.
Like, whoa, dude.
Aliens,
like,
bro.
Life, bro.
Life, bro. All right. So we've already talked about the Great Filter. We've talked about the theories that are where Type 2 and Type 3, which are uber advanced civilizations, do not exist.
I prefer lift.
Yeah, I prefer lift civilizations. Thank you. So now we're going to talk about the theories that say the second Type 2 and Type 3 civilizations are out there, but why haven't we heard from them yet? Okay?
We don't want to.
Well, we probably don't. That's the truth. So this guy...
you want to meet us?
No.
No. I don't want to date myself. No.
So some of these... Okay, I'm gonna warn you guys. Some of these are pretty fucking dark. Like they're...
Oh, stop it. They can handle it.
Hey, man.
I mean, they're listening.
Right, or not. They turned us off because they thought it was stupid, one or the other. Anyways, so this is like the 10 most talked about theories this guy put in this article.
All right, we got 10 of them.
Number 1.
Number 10. Number 10.
Okay, we'll count them
down. It's the countdown.
Well, they're not in any sort of order.
The top 10 while we're dead countdown.
The last one's going to be pretty fucking anticlimactic if we go 10 to 1. We'll just say number 1. We'll just start there.
Number 1.
Number 1. Dun, dun, dun. The life exists, but it visited Earth way before we ever got here. So sentient humans have only been around for about 50,000 years. And we only have recorded history 5,000-6,000 years back to like cavemen, that kind of shit. So, essentially, aliens, another life form, whatever you want to call them, came to Earth back when, old tribes that lived here could have experienced alien shit, but how would they have ever told us about it? They couldn't even write. They had no way to leave anything. For all we know, the very first human-type people out there could have had all sorts of encounters with aliens. Or they could have came to the planet when there was nothing here and been like, well, nothing here, and that's it.
That's true.
So we have no idea. We have no idea about that.
Prior to written history, we have no recollection.
Right, exactly. So for all we know, what'd you say again? What was that?
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
Right, exactly. So that's really that one. That's pretty cut and dry, which that's feasible. Number two. The galaxy has been colonized, but Earth is in some weird little desolate part of the galaxy. So essentially,
we're in the corner.
We're in the boondocks of the universe.
Dude, we are such the fucking rednecks of the universe, dude.
Probably.
We're the rednecks that live in a trailer. We're shooting our guns in the backyard and shit.
They're just like, oh, there goes the Earth people again.
Honey, lock the door. They lock the door when they're in their
yeah.
We're yelling out our window, hey, are you out there? They're like, shh, don't talk.
Yeah,
they'll just ask you for money.
Yeah. So essentially,
trash.
There could be life and colonization and communication out there, but we're so far from everything. It's not worth it for them to come out here to mess with us because we're just in like the corner, man. We're like baby in the corner.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze is trying to save us from her father.
Is that a Breakfast Club?
No, it's that Dirty Dancing. Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm black. Never seen either one of the movies.
That's a super white movie. Dirty Dancing. It's all about like privileged, like fucking like stuck up like rich girl like gets like involved with the bad boy dancer and like
and daddy don't like it.
He doesn't like it. He has to come to the country club and show him what's up. Like, oh my God, shoot me, God, fuck. All right.
It sounds like you got some good memories of that movie.
Oh my God, that movie is fucking terrible. Everyone out, it's like Ghost, but like not Ghost.
It's like Ghost, but not Ghost.
Yeah, there's no Whoopi Goldberg being a
medium. So there's no Whoopi.
No, there's no Whoopi. All right.
Number three.
The entire concept of colonization is a joke to the Type 2 or Type 3 civilization. So the idea of needing to colonize the universe is just ridiculous to them.
Oh, so they've moved past the point where a planet provides the type of energy and or materials that they need to continue their progression.
Right. So basically, it's like Type 2 are so satisfied with their encompassing star and all the energy that they have figured out a way to create a perfect environment and are completely content with what they have. They don't want anyone else because they've harnessed enough energy and whatever to do whatever they need to do, and they're happy the way they are.
Okay, I buy that.
Also, they say with Type 3, it could be so far advanced, it's stuff that we can't even fathom. Like that they've beaten morality and that they no longer live in the physical world and they live in like a hybrid, like virtual reality, like they've been able to take their physical existence and put it into like the
Matrix.
Well, right, kind of like the Matrix or something. Yeah. And then so the idea of like real world biology and morality is just nonsense to them because that doesn't exist. They basically live forever because they've become this higher life form that is now like throw morality out the window.
Yo, that sounds pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. I mean, that
shit sounds dope as fuck.
I
want some of that right now.
Right. No shit. So it's an example of like what, like I know that's kind of a deep kind of thing to think about. An example would be like kind of how we view sea creatures. Like, why the fuck do they live in dark, frigid waters? Why would you want to go live in dark, frigid waters? You can live on the earth. They're like, why the fuck would you want to live on the earth? We can live in this fucking higher Matrix type thing.
All right.
Okay. Here's where they get a little, number 4. there are intellectual species out there, but there are also predatorial species and non-predatorial species out there. And the other species know better than to broadcast their location, because then the predators of the universe will come and wipe them out.
The Borg is coming.
The Borg?
It's the fucking Borg! Dude, we create AI, they summon the Borg, they come in the cubes and they destroy us. We're dead. They assimilate us.
Right. Well, here's something else that people probably don't think. This isn't a thought in this. What if the aliens that we speak of are AI bots?
Yeah.
But they don't exist because we end up creating them and they end up killing us off.
Oh, so
that's the great.
So we're mixing a little singularity in there too, huh?
Right. Well, what if the great filter is they try to create artificial life and the artificial life turns and kills you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't have any fucking empathy, sympathy. They're a fucking machine, dude. Like, it's...
Didn't we talk about whether we'd like real aliens or AI?
Or on something.
That was on the YouTube.
It was on the YouTube channel? Yeah. You were talking about, I don't remember, some fucked up shit about alien probes or something.
Yeah.
But, so it'll explain why we don't hear any signals on the SETI, the system we have set up to get signals from other planets, and that many scientists are against. They're talking about forming what they want to call the METI, which would be messaging to extraterrestrial intelligence, where we would start throwing shit out into the universe, like radio signals, laser beams, whatever, trying to get another intelligent life to recognize it and come to us.
Why do you want that?
Right. Well, right. It's Stephen Hawking, pretty intelligent guy. Yeah. Not the most mobile.
I've heard this quote too.
Well, it's not a quote, but essentially what he says was, if we bring aliens to Earth willingly, like wanting them to come here, it could be the equivalent of when Christopher Columbus found the mainland and what happened to the Native Americans.
Right.
So they come to our planet to see us, and they're like, oh, y'all got it pretty fucking good here. All right, you guys get Antarctica. We're taking the rest of the world over. Kind of like we did to the Indians, Native Americans. Here, you stay on these reservations. We're going to take everything else over.
And our guns are bigger than yours.
Right, and they're farther advanced. They have whatever. So it could be, bringing him here may not be the best idea.
It definitely is not, man.
Carl Sagan, I mentioned him earlier. He's another physicist. Along with this, he says, the newest, naivest life forms should sit dormant and wait and listen to see what's out there before we start shouting to what we don't understand.
Exactly.
So but again, this could be the great filter, because our own ignorance of like, oh, we want to talk to aliens. Hey, here's some radio signals. Here we are. We're out here.
Exactly.
And then they're like, oh, we never noticed these motherfuckers out on Earth. They're in the corner of the galaxy.
On a smaller scale,
okay.
Say you're walking through my neighborhood in Cleveland. You aren't going to necessarily go up and say hi to everybody on their fucking porch. You stay to yourself. Most people are assholes. We know that just through living in a city. You don't talk to everybody.
Right, absolutely.
Because most people are assholes. And that's prolific enough. Altruism is just, we don't find that too often.
Right.
We don't find it too often. It's a rare thing.
Right.
So nobody's coming here to fucking like, oh, you guys are a little behind here. Here's some technology.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, nah. We're taking this shit over.
Right, exactly. They're like, oh, you guys are weak as fuck. We can't even try. We can just
taking this shit over.
Right,
man.
exactly.
They're coming to take our oil.
They probably don't even need oil. They're probably just like, whatever. I don't know. But anyway, so that's kind of fucked up. Number 5. There is one super predator life form.
Ooh, the top of the food chain.
No, there's only one.
Yeah.
Because they're so far advanced and ahead of everything else, they just wipe civilizations out once they hit a point of where they could be a problem. So literally, it basically suggests that whoever got to super intelligence first wins, because no one else has a chance, because you're already there and you can watch everyone. And when you see them get to a point that you know they're going to be a competitor or a problem, that's when you go and wipe them out. Because before that, they're not worth your time.
So, Jesus?
Why do you keep bringing up?
I'm just thinking like it sounds like something. It sounds like I don't know. It kind of sounds.
Is this like Revelations?
I don't know. Yeah, right. Doesn't it a little bit?
I don't know enough about it.
It doesn't sound a little Jesus-y to you?
No. What it sounds like to me is that there's like I picture this super life form looking like the Predator. I don't know why. I just do.
And I picture him looking like Jesus.
Okay, either way.
Okay.
They can hang out together. It's a hybrid, half Jesus, half Predator. He's wearing a toga and has dreadlocks. But anyways, and they're out there and they're like, all right, well, there's a planet, whatever. Oh, there's Earth. Okay, well, yeah, they're stupid. Nah, don't worry about them. And then they're like, did the humans just put a car in space? What? Did they just put a car in orbit around their planet? Are they putting a bunch of satellites up around their planet now?
Oh, yeah, I did hear about those satellites.
Where Elon wants to put like 12,000 satellites to have worldwide broadband internet.
I'm going to have to demand you stop calling him Elon.
I love calling
We're not talking about DeGeneres.
I love calling him Elon.
Anyway.
But anyways. Yeah, that'll be cool. I mean,
they're going to kill us.
So, right, and then they go, oh, they're starting to make a little hubbub in the space community out there in their little corner of the boondocks. Let's just go in and just wipe them out. And that's it. And they probably could come in. They're so advanced. They come in. It's just.
Yeah. And then Jesus comes back and we all die.
Well, we'd be dead before Jesus got here.
Because Jesus is the aliens.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Can Jesus have that like shimmering like the Predator does? Or when we hybrid Jesus and Predator together, he's gonna have the shimmer?
Can he go invisible?
Yes.
You mean? Oh yeah, cloaking, all that shit.
All right. He's totally got the cloaking.
He's totally got the cloak.
All right. He has that big spear that the Predator has. I don't know, whatever.
There's a cross on the end of it.
It's upside down when he swings it. He's like, I know you guys always thought the upside down cross was evil, but you didn't really realize why.
Hey, man.
All right.
We don't know.
We don't know. 6.
Number 6.
There is plenty of noise, signals, lasers out there. Our equipment is just so primitive and short range that we can't decipher it, or we're looking for something that we don't even know exists. We don't even know what we're... Exactly. They're putting out something we don't even know exists to even find.
Exactly.
And to us, it's just invisible. It's not there.
Motherfuckers, The Cloud just came out 20 years ago, so I don't even...
Right. Well, the example they put in this article is like, essentially it's the same as you walk into a busy office building, turn on a walkie-talkie, get no response, and then go, this building's empty. Because everyone is using cell phones and text messaging. So you're like, oh, this walkie-talkie no one's talking on the walkie-talkie. There's nobody here.
Yeah.
Because everybody's using an entirely different form of communication to talk.
That's a good point.
Right. I was like, oh, okay. And it may be ignorant of us to assume other life forms communicate the same way we do.
Telepathy.
Right. They could be telepathic. They could have, dude, who fucking knows? They may be able to like project fucking words out of their hands in the air that who fucking knows, dude? We have no idea what and this is why, like, I sent this to a couple people, like people I know, and said, hey, read about this, let me know what you think. And a couple of them were like, I don't know about that. And I was like, what? And they're like, it's just so, I can't even put my finger, because it's like so out there and it's so like non-specific that, like, it's hard to grasp what the fuck you're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, to even think about how these other life forms could be communicating with each other just can blow your mind in its own right. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
This is the type of shit I think about, though, sometimes, man. I do.
Well, yeah, but it's neat to think about, man.
Yeah,
it's like...
absolutely.
Who just wants to think about, oh, well, we need some milk at the store this weekend? You know what I mean? Like,
most people.
Well, right. That's true. They're just like, ignorance is bliss, dude. They try not...
I'm sure that our listeners are smarter than
that,
but most people.
In their defense, with this sort of stuff, imagine if everyone did think, oh, there's a predatory life form out there and eventually they're going to come get us. Like, everyone would be in such fucking fear all the time. Like, is it going to happen today? Is it going to happen today? Is today the day they come?
And I think that's probably why some of the information is probably being kept from us.
Right.
To a certain extent.
Which falls into number 7.
Number 7.
That was like a natural segue. I like that. Number 7. We are receiving signals, but all the governments are keeping it from the general public.
Thank you.
Classic conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
It's...
Everybody orders a number 7.
Everybody orders a number 7. Right.
Everybody's on number 7 right now.
Could it be true?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Like we just talked about, why do we have nuclear weapons? Maybe it's not for defending our country from other countries. It's from defending us if we ever get invaded from another species, because we know they're out there and we realize that they're dangerous.
Like, we haven't had a major war for quite some time.
Yeah, we've had conflicts but not like a world war. Yeah, it's been like in the 40s.
I think we're kind of past the point of just like starting war, because war used to be for gaining territory.
Right, essentially. Yeah. Right. Nobody's going to try to like, let's wipe Spain off the map and take it over. Like, people just don't do that shit.
I think we're kind of past that point now. Everybody's kind of drawn out their borders, and it's kind of like Russia's not going to come over here and take us over at this point.
And people
would never work.
Well, and people with the internet and all this stuff and all the technology, it'd be impossible. Like back when Hitler was trying to do it, you could start taking shit over, and it could take weeks before another country found out that you were invading Syria or wherever the fuck he was going. But now we drop a bomb on fucking Canada in 5 seconds. Everybody knows we're dropping bombs on Canada.
Somebody's going to have their cell phone sideways.
Right. So it's kind of like a sign of the times, like even like with like crime and like murders, and you know what I mean? We're gotten to the point where like it's almost impossible to get away with murder anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're back in the day. They didn't have the fucking technology. You kill whoever the fuck you want, and maybe you get caught, and maybe you wouldn't. Right. You know, as long as you weren't sloppy and stupid about it. Now, like, you could drop spit or sweat, or like a hair could fall off, and they find you. You know what I mean? It's a lot different.
So, yeah, like I said, I think we're kind of past that point of just, like, trying to take over countries now.
Right. We've all kind of settled into our...
So it kind of makes you wonder, why are we creating the weapons? Like, are we really dealing with world leaders that are that unsteady and mentally that we feel like we got to protect ourselves from them? We have NATO. We have all of these checks and balances and tariffs that we can impose on other countries if they don't cooperate.
Right.
But what are we cooperating for then necessarily?
Right.
It's just, so I don't know. I don't know. I sound like a conspiracy.
And the thing with all that stuff too is, like with NATO and everything. So like even if a country, like, you know what I mean, say like some rogue ass country like France all of a sudden decided they were like going to start taking shit over, the rest of the world goes, France, no, we'll either destroy
You're not invited to the party.
Right. Either we'll destroy them, like everyone rallies together to destroy that one entity, or they put tariffs and fuck it, like, you know, like North Korea's starting to do nuclear, they put tariffs like, we're not going to sell you steel, we're not going to sell you fucking whatever. So it's like,
and we do need each other, and that's why I say, like, these people aren't so unsteady or unstable or so fucking sociopathic,
right,
that we're constantly on guard that somebody's going to come over here and just start bombing people because they want our land.
Right.
So there has to be another thing driving the fact that we are constantly in pursuit of stronger weaponry.
Right. Like, we aren't making it just like in case someone decides to go rogue one day.
Yeah.
Because it would mean like every country would have to go rogue at the same time against each other.
Yeah.
For that shit to really happen.
Because nobody's moving far enough ahead where they can just take over the world.
Right, exactly. And maybe that's the reason, because they don't want one country to get so far ahead of the rest.
Yeah,
so they have to keep, you know what I mean? It's like what do they call that? Keeping up with the
pace.
Keeping up with the Robinsons or whatever. Like it's like a thing about like the neighborhood, like, you know what I mean? Like, you live in a neighborhood and like they get a new pool, so everybody else wants a new pool too. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh God, the U.S. got a new missile? Oh, we need to get a new missile too, because we don't want to be left behind because they got a stronger missile than we do. You know what I mean?
I think you were talking about that Brady Bunch clone with the kids on the bus.
What? Oh, the Partridge Family?
Yeah.
It's like a 1960s show.
Oh, that's like a 1960s idiom.
Yeah.
Keeping up with the Robinsons.
Yeah, no, sure. All right. Number 8.
Number 8.
Higher civilizations are aware of us, but they're just strictly observing us. Otherwise known as the zoo hypothesis.
Think a little column A, a little column B.
Yeah. So the species know we're here, but they're just observing us. But it could, they said this is, like, the article referenced Star Trek in this. I don't know Star Trek enough. But basically, the galaxy or the universe could have a strict look, don't touch policy throughout the galaxy for planets like ours to not disturb the ecosystem.
Oh, like the Watchers.
Right. Like, they realize that we're like what we are, but if they come in and start fucking with shit, it's not going to be natural anymore. They also, another part of this, they could have rules where certain level species cannot make themselves known to a lesser species until they've hit a certain form of intelligence because they need to get there on their own. So they can't contact us until we hit a certain point, because if they did, it would interfere with our natural progression becoming a higher level society.
And that sounds nice, because like it's nice.
It makes it seem like everybody's like, oh, welcome to the family, buddy.
But like I said, like nobody on this planet has reached a level of self-actualization that we experience or exhibit true altruism. And for somebody to take that stance on us means that, yes, they would have to be far more advanced than us, but I just don't really buy in that altruism point of view. I'm just not seeing somebody just like, let's just be nice to them. Oh, they can't hurt. No, dude.
Right.
We go outside and we squash bugs because they're there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to kill that bee. Why?
Yeah.
It really is actually doing good to the world, but we kill it.
Right?
You know?
We're fucking shooting each other over drugs and money. Get the fuck out of here,
right,
man.
Right.
So I can't buy it.
And here's the other thing. It's ignorant to believe that even if you believe there's other life out there, which I'm whatever. I need proof. You know, I'm agnostic about it, I guess.
Oh, are you really?
I mean, like, if I had proof, I believe it. But if not atheist, agnostic. Agnostic is where you need the proof to make your decision.
Oh, we're talking about religion and not aliens.
Well, agnostic kind of means the same thing.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm kind of agnostic about aliens.
Really?
Because, like, if I can't believe in it because there's no proof. But I also can't not believe in it because there's no proof. If I had proof either way, it would help me make my decision. But I'm not gonna put all my eggs in a basket off of hype or guesses. You know what I mean?
And I kind of err towards the side of caution, where I'm just like, I believe it. I know eventually we're gonna die. I'm cool with it. Because there ain't really much I can do.
Well, yeah.
To a certain extent.
Well, that has nothing to do with, like, if there's aliens. I'm talking about whether they exist, period, or not.
Oh, and I'm talking about whether they exist, too. I'm pretty well from it. I think they exist, 100%. They're out there.
Well, it'd be ignorant to think they don't.
And so we're done.
Well, so here's the other thing. It's also ignorant to think that if there is, like in the beginning we talked, there could be tens of thousands of millions of these civilizations across the universe, that every single one is fucking Betty Crocker.
None of them are Betty Crocker.
Right. They're all like, oh, we want everyone to be our friend. And everywhere there's dickheads. Like, I mean, even in our civilization, where for the most part, people are somewhat okay to each other, there's still drug cartels and gangs and fucking, terrible people that do terrible things. So why would there not be terrible aliens that would want to do terrible things?
And if they've harnessed the ability of combustion to the extent to make it from one part of the galaxy to another to here, they've made a weapon. They made a bomb. Because it started out as a bomb. Right. Somebody died and they were like, holy shit, that was an explosion. I can use this to get money. Right. And then they were like, we can use this to get to space. And they're like, we can use a lot of this to get here.
Right. And if they're able to travel from, like, out of our galaxy to us, we ain't got a shot, dude. What are we going to do? We're going to fire a fucking revolver at them?
Because we can't do that. I think it was the guy, D'Angelo Grassi Tyson?
Oh, yeah. The Drake show.
Yeah, the Drake show. He said that if anybody had the capability to travel interdimensionally or intergalactically to get here,
right,
that they're so far ahead of us that
we would have no chance.
We would have no chance against.
Well, right, absolutely. Because because I mean, we talk about how hard it is for us to travel to Mars,
right?
And if they can travel from out of our galaxy to Earth, and not have like years and years and years go by to the point that we're dead by the time they get here because so much time has passed. They are fucking smart, man. They got some, right. And that's why they say that, like, we're feeble-minded compared to, like, these other civilizations. Like, but we realize it, so that means we are, we're
on our way up.
Right, right.
We're on the upswing.
Right. So, okay.
Number 9.
Number 9. Higher civilizations are here, but we're just too primitive to perceive them, period. In any way, shape, or form.
I've seen videos,
Michio Kaku is a physicist. There's a quote he had here, and I wanted to read it. And this kind of helps, kind of put this in perspective.
Good old Michio Kaku.
Michio, Michio Kaku.
All right, sure.
Let's say we have an anthill in the middle of the forest. And right next to the anthill, they're building a 10-lane superhighway. The question is, would the ants be able to understand what a 10-lane superhighway is? Would the ants be able to understand the technology and the intentions of the beings building the highway next to them? No. So it wouldn't be that we couldn't pick up the signals. It would be that we aren't even able to comprehend what the fuck they're trying to tell us.
We wouldn't be able to see the forest from the trees, man.
Right. It'd be like us trying to teach that same anthill how to use the internet. We don't even speak the same fucking language. We don't have the same capabilities. We're like, but it's just a computer. Come on, ant, just get on the computer and use it. And it's just feasibly not possible because we aren't even on the same level. You know what I mean? So that makes a lot of sense.
Dude, we're fucked.
Right. Oh, yeah.
so fucked. We're all gonna die.
Yeah. 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 I mean.
So they're here. They're among us.
Yeah. And then number 10.
Number 10.
I mean, like I said,
this is the best one.
I'm glad I didn't count down to 1.
No, this is the best one.
We're just fucking completely wrong about everything.
Oh.
Everything we think we know about, it's just fucking wrong.
Oh, so what? If we're all wrong, then what's the answer?
That we're nothing more than objects on a planet, or we're in a fucking simulation, and we don't even know we're in it.
Son of a bitch!
Like aliens could have put us in a simulation, and we don't even know we're in a simulation because we think like it was an experiment to see how we would progress, or I mean that's fucking real crazy
we're in a
talk.
Test tube.
Right. We could be a test from, the universe could be a petri dish in an alien's lab.
Yo, so we're in a battery. We're in a microverse inside of a battery that's flying a ship. This is a Rick and Morty, by the way.
Oh, is it?
That's totally we're just sitting here powering another ship with our electrical
impulses.
Or
whatever. Or literally there's aliens in a lab and we're in a petri dish. And they're watching, but literally, compared to what their existence is, we're nothing but an experiment in a tray, where we think we're this almighty whatever or whatever. We don't know, and that's why the universe is so fucking weird and freaky and scary because we don't know shit about it. Yeah. It's because here's what fucks me about the universe. We're so minuscule and
insignificant,
right?
We are nothing.
But it's so hard to even comprehend what the universe is because we think of everything of containment. Humans are huge on containment. We can't even grasp where the edge of the universe is or what it's a part of. Is the universe, or is the universe part of something else that we're in? We can't even fathom it because we're very much I'm in this planet, in this country, in this city, in my home, whatever. But
dude, you can't see it, listeners, but I'm nodding so hard. I know some of you are at home.
Yeah.
I know some of you are at home. You're nodding super hard.
You're
right
oh,
now.
Wow, yeah, fuck, man.
This dude's right, man. I'm sitting.
We don't know.
We don't. We have no idea.
Right.
And the fact, I try to take that insignificant, because I realize how insignificant we truly are, and on an individual basis. I try to let that dictate the way I kind of go about life, man. It's going to end eventually. I'm cool with that.
Well, right.
And I just try to enjoy it, man. I love the fact I look at humans like they're a goddamn petri dish all the time.
Right.
Just watching people interact with each other.
One of my friends that I sent this to, she was like, it's out there. She's like, but I don't really get the point of it. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it doesn't affect me any way at all. I'm still going to die, whether I die from old age or aliens come and wipe us out. Or whatever, my life does not change any bit not knowing this information. But if you spent your whole life worrying about this information, it could send you the fucking crazy house. You know what I mean? It's so, and that's what I think is so fucking weird, and why I wanted to talk about on the podcast. It's such a vast mind fuck when you try to contain something about something you don't know the containment of. It's like just trying to grasp what the universe is, or why we're here, or any of that.
Well, you know, you got to come to terms with your mortality, and you have to realize is that you don't have control over every aspect of your life, man.
Really, but I think a lot of people don't think about this sort of stuff. Because
absolutely.
For that exact reason. Because if not, they can't handle it. Yeah. Some people can't handle,
because we all live within our macro system.
Right,
essentially,
right,
we don't get out of that.
Right.
If it happens in a different country, you're like, oh, that's terrible, and we turn the channel.
Right, exactly. And
so
yet,
how can we even fathom what's going on galactically?
Right. We can't even put ourselves in the shoes of someone who lives in like Somalia, let alone like thinking about a fucking higher life colony that lives in fucking Zimbuk-2 planet Nebulon 7. You know what I mean? Or fucking some random
I don't remember the I was going to use another Rick and Morty, but I can't
Oh,
remember
okay,
it.
I got you. So
I can't remember it.
So it's like, so essentially
Number 11.
The final kind of take this article had was the Fermi Paradox. It almost is kind of like you almost need to humble yourself to like kind of like grasp what it's really saying, because like a lot of people have that whole like humans are the best, we're the greatest, there's no one better than us out. You know what I mean?
Do, man.
Right? Absolutely. Where in all reality, we could be the equivalent of a goddamn ant.
Reminds me of that Little Dicky song.
Which one?
The one where he's like, well, how come God can't fuck with aliens? How you know Earth is not a small side project to him? Like,
yeah.
Damn it.
Well, and here's the other thing.
It exists.
It's kind of funny too that like, you know, as things keep going out, new theories come out, scientists keep advancing their thoughts and theories and new information and whatever. So essentially, like in like another 100 years, they're going to look back on us today and go, what the fuck were these humans thinking? Just the same we look back 100 years ago and go, what the fuck were these
Looking
people
at
thinking?
like fucking cave drawings. Like,
Right,
oh.
right. You're like, you didn't realize the fucking sun or the earth wasn't the center of the universe, or what, you know, and they're like, you guys thought there wasn't life out there? Like, you know, like, dicks.
Oh my God, there's still flat earthers out there.
Yeah,
oh man, we are.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not there yet. Man.
But you know, I think where that comes from, and they talk about it here on Earth, we're essentially the king of our castle here.
Yeah, we got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing better than human on this planet.
This planet, we're moving with exponential rates, man.
We're dominant of every other thing on this planet except for ourselves, and we're advancing. We're like growing. We're growing
faster than ever before.
Right. Exactly. Like, I mean, think about, dude, the internet has only been around for like less than 25 years. Like, not at all, but like widespread use. It started, Windows 95 was about when the internet started getting real big. I mean, it was around before that.
Now everybody has it in their pocket.
Right. And like, right. And we were like, oh man, would it be so cool if like our phones could like have, you know, and we're like, oh, that's crazy talk. You know what I mean? Like, you watch the Jetsons from the 60s and they're like doing video calls with like their boss, and you're like, that would be so fucking cool. And now like on our phone, in our hand, we can do that with anyone we want.
Flying cars in Dubai coming soon.
Yeah, hovercraft. I mean, it's...
Yeah, man.
Whew.
Faster than ever.
Well, we wanted to give you something different on the Crazy Town podcast for a change, and I think we did it. What do you think?
Oh, is that it?
That's
Number 12.
Number 12. That, I mean, I'm not going to wrap things up this second, but let's take a minute to...
You want to take a minute to contemplate?
Let's
talk some more about it?
Yeah, I mean, this episode's going to go a little long, but that's all right.
Yeah, it's fine.
So, looking back on this...
Yeah.
It's fucking insane, dude. Like this, like all of it. Like, I've never really looked into this sort of stuff. Just, I haven't been a big space guy or whatever. But like, I literally like
space guy.
I'm not a big like a science-y fiction space sort of alien guy. I got so sucked into this when I was fucking reading this shit. Like, it like was like, I started with like a Wikipedia article that was like maybe like 2,000 words. And then I was like, oh, this link. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a giant fucking art. And then I'm reading this. I'm like, oh, what's that theory? And then it's like, I'm like, it just like, it's like a wormhole.
Yeah, he has too much time on his hands. No, but so did you look up any of some of the documented evidence of alien life that we've already encountered at all?
No, I have not. I didn't get that deep on it. I just want to talk theories.
Because there's some stuff that's going on right now that's relatively unexplained. With the one of the top heads at Area 51, him just losing his job or quitting or resigning or some shit. I think that happened a couple months ago. We were talking about that, no. And he released some of the information. You remember that?
Yeah. I did hear something about Area 51, and he was like, yeah,
and he released some information. There was some videos that were with some unexplained phenomena. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. I kind of get like the whole iceberg effect when it comes to that. Yeah, the shit that we see is only like a little bit of what lies underneath of what we honestly don't know.
Right.
I feel like if we have like speculation or we have like bits and pieces of information, what we actually don't know is gotta be so much more. So that's kind of where I'm at.
It's 1/10 of 1% of what, of what we only know.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I stand. I mean, I've always kind of felt that way, and I'm kind of cool with it.
Me too, man.
I'm not going to stop us from trying to communicate and get ourselves killed. I'm not going to stop us from creating weapons. I'm not going to help create weapons.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, just fucking sit back and enjoy the ride, guys.
You know what, man?
Because you're not in control.
I'm going to do my part. I'm going to make a podcast and just talk to people about fucked up shit that happens in the world. That's kind of what we do, right? We just talk about fucked up shit, man. That is my part.
That's your part?
My part.
How is that? Don't take the social justice warrior stance on it. Where you're like, I'm going to do my part. Throw this one coffee cup away.
I'm just being stupid.
No, it's fine. No, I'm just hey.
Like, look. You know what? It's like in a weird way, our podcast almost examines the human condition. Because it's like we talk about but it's always like the worst of the worst. Like we don't talk about all the cool shit people do. We talk about all the fucked up weird shit that goes on.
Hey, man, we're a crazy town. That's what we fucking do.
That's the part that gets lost, man. Like people, they talk about this shit on the news or whatever, but like they don't focus on this, man. They don't put the bums in the front. You know what I mean?
Don't put the bums in the front. I like that.
But you know what I mean? Like if you're in a fucking gathering, you always put your best foot forward.
Yeah, you put the dented cans in the back.
Right. The dropped can of corn gets on the back of the shelf, you know? Yeah. So it's like, we're bringing all this shit to the forefront that's just fucking dumb. Like, that, we're just like, well, humans do this awesome shit too. Like, everyone's from Florida. I wonder if we're the Florida of the universe.
Whoa, stop! Stop! I was cool with us being rednecks, but not Floridas. Please don't make us be Floridians.
We're all a little bit Florida.
No.
All right, TNT. That is all the time that we have for today's episode. What do you think? What do you think about it? About a different aspect of the Crazy Town podcast?
Yeah, man, I'm cool with it, but honestly, this is the type of existential shit that I think about on a daily basis when I'm just like, daydreaming and shit.
I got you.
I always think about.
I'll tell you. You bring me a theory or something like that. I'll write it out. We'll go through it. We'll go through it on a podcast. I'm down, man. I'm down to start talking about weird theories and what. Not like I don't want to turn to like a conspiracy theory podcast, but like
9/11 was an inside job,
right? Like that kind of shit, right?
Baba booey,
right? But like this kind of shit, I mean, that's cool for like an episode. It's not going to be every episode, but it's nice to.
I enjoyed it.
Throw something else out. Me too. So you want to say anything out there, pimp some shit, talk about where you're at on the Twitter or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, TNT Dynamite at twitter.org. You can find me right next to Malik Yoba.
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, look him up.
Is that the guy from Othello?
No, was he? I think
was he in Save the Last Dance?
New York Undercover.
New York Undercover?
You don't remember New York Undercover?
No, was he B. Rabbit's friend in 8 Mile?
No, that's Sway.
No, the guy who was in
Houseway.
Houseway?
Houseway.
I don't know.
That's Kanye. But yeah, anyway, I'm on the Twitter. We are on the YouTube.
Yeah, we are.
Tell them what the YouTube is.
All right, I will. All right, first off, make sure you review us on iTunes.
Okay.
Tell us how you
Number one, review us on iTunes.
Tell us how you hate us. Tell us what you really think. Anyways, of course, follow us on Twitter at the Crazy Town Pod, and at Crazy Town Media is our Twitter for the gaming channel and the podcast. It's kind of a cavalcade of everything if we expand into other shit as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crazy Town Media. Please, it would help us out. And we are available on SoundCloud and iTunes and all that bullshit.
I know. Make us rich, guys.
Yeah, come on, guys. We love you so much. You make us rich, we'll, like, do cool things for you, I promise.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but, like, you send us your city, we'll try to get there. If we were so rich, I'd come and hang out in your city and, like, throw out, like, keychains.
Yeah, we accept Bitcoin.
Yeah, you want to give us, like, 200 or 300 Bitcoin?
200 or 300.
You know, all the kind that have been, like, illegally farmed and...
Yeah, just like 50 Cent.
Yeah, he just happened to find a couple hundred Bitcoin in his pocket.
And then they asked him about it in court, and he never heard of such a thing.
He was like, wait, Bitcoin? I don't even know what that is.
Wait.
They're like, you forgot to mention that you had $300 million in Bitcoin? Wait, hold on, wait. I need some coffee. I don't know. Anyways.
Oh, rappers.
The Crazy Town. No shit, right? TheCrazyTown.com. Go there and check it out. It has some cool shit. Yep. But for TNT Dynamite and for Jonas, we are out.
Hour is over.